Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at all the shadow Pokemon that are currently available in Pokemon Go to hunt. So those Pokemon you can find when you just go outside, try to do those grunts or like those leaders, and then you can try to hunt them down, try to get some good ones for PvP and PvE. I'm gonna try to basically look at both sides of it, but maybe I'm not gonna do the best job with PvE. I can already say this because it's a PvP channel, but still, we're gonna rank them all. We're gonna see on the right side as well which kind of grunts they have and like what kind of percentage they have for like the shiny chance and stuff like this, so definitely something that might be interesting for you. But we're gonna start right into it. Arlo is going to have the Bagon. Bagon is a cool Pokemon for PvE, I think, so like it would be a little bit higher than I would actually rank it for myself, but I'm gonna put it into the A tier rank. Not great for PvP yet, but what I want to say for Bagon is, like, this Pokemon has a lot of potential for the future. There are different moves that this Pokemon could get that makes it good in PvP as well. Next on, we're going to have the Zubat from Cliff, which I'm going to put into the B rank. Also new shiny, of course, but Golbat is great for the Great League. We're going to have the Crobat, which has potential for the Ultra League if it gets a better fast move, and that's basically all it needs. If it gets Wing Attack, this Pokemon would be really good for this one as well, so I would actually put it into the B tier currently. Golbat is kinda decent already, but Crobat not really that great. Then we have Tentacruel for Sierra here. We're going to also have a like 1 in 66 chance of being shiny. Gonna put it into A tier as well. I think it has a lot of potential, especially in the Ultra League, but yeah, those going to be the leader Pokemon. Not the greatest ever, but definitely still solid. Next one, we're going to have the Decoy Grunt. You're only going to be able to encounter this one if you have the Rocket Raider for Giovanni equipped, and those can just spawn in the wild. You can basically hunt them down the entire time as long as you don't do Giovanni, and so those going to guarantee you, give you now the what's called not Victory Bell, like the pre-evolution of Victory Bell, forgot the name of it, Bellsprout. And Bellsprout is S tier for sure for the Great League, is like one of the most common Pokemon right now. Sadly, it's very toxic, but it is super overpowered, so definitely something you should hunt for, very easy to hunt as well. For the Bug-type trainer, we're going to get 5 different Pokemon. We're going to have Shuckle, which is our first D tier pick. I know Homesize Henry likes this Pokemon quite a bit, but it is sadly not the greatest. But we're going to have next up here the Pineco. I feel like this Pokemon has a lot of potential for the future as well. I'm going to put it into B tier. Can be shiny as well. We're going to have next up here what's called the Dwebble. Dwebble is a new addition. It's a C tier pick. Has some potential in some limited metas, but maybe, like, I don't know. Like, currently it's not really the greatest Pokemon. I feel like the current meta is not really it for it, but you're going to have the next up an A tier pick, which is going to be basically then later on the Drapion. Drapion is pretty decent in the Great and Ultra League, especially as a Shadow variant. Currently also not the best meta for this Pokemon though, so it's a little bit trickier to play, but it was really solid before and definitely has some potential. Weedle, I actually kind of want to put this into C tier currently. It's not the greatest. I feel like the Exeter buff kind of nerfed this Pokemon because now you need 5 more energy and now you're gonna get to the move a little bit later. So yeah, I mean, you could actually put it into B tier. I would put it into B tier. Like, I feel like it's more accurate there. Next up, we're going to have the Dragon type trainer here, and we're going to see as well that they're going to have a 6% chance to get the Alone Executor, which is kind of funny. I'm just gonna put it into C tier. Like, it does not really have that much play, but like, it's still a funny Pokemon, so I'm just gonna put it into C tier. It's not really that great to have. We have the Dratini, which was Cliff's Pokemon for the last time. Basically, we did this tier list as well. Going to be back now in this kind of category, and also still has this shiny chance there of 1 in 300 or something. I think it's like, in total, like for those, it's usually around like 1 in 250. But we gotta put Dratini into S tier. A really good Pokemon to have for PvE, PvP, like literally, like you can use Dragonair and Dragonite in the Great League, Dragonite in the Ultra League, and Dragonite in the Master League. And this Pokemon is good in every of them. So definitely something that you really want to have. For me, one of the best Pokemon that you could get. And then we have Gibble, which I'm gonna put into A tier. Again, cool for PvE and PvP as well a little bit, but it needs kind of move update in my opinion. If it gets like something like Dragonclaw / Breaking Swipe or something new. But also, what I have to say, there were some moves found in the code recently which might change the tier list up a little bit as well. For example, there was Sand Attack, I think, found, which would be a cool ground type fast move, which maybe also Gibble would be able to get, and like then later on Garchomp. And this might change stuff around, so we have to of course always consider that those Pokemon can change in terms of the moveset. So I would say that Gibble is definitely something you can still hunt for. Next up, we're going to have the Fairy type trainer here. We're going to see as well that they're going to have the Alolan Vulpix. I'm gonna put it into A tier. I still think it's a really good Pokemon to use currently. Kind of want to try it out again as well, especially with Charm in the Great into Ultra League. We have Ralts, which I'm gonna put into B tier. It has some potential in some limited metas for PvE, but also has some potential for PvP. No, for PvE it has some potential for PvP in some limited metas, but not the greatest. We're going to have Mawile, which I'm gonna put a little bit higher into the B tier. Currently not really the greatest meta Pokemon, but still kind of fine. And then we're going to have Snubble. I don't really include the evolutions because it's like the same ranking anyway. So Snubble I'm also gonna put into B tier. Great, crazy good Charm user though for the Great League. Very, very high attack, which is kind of cool with a Shadow bonus as well. So definitely something worth hunting for. We're gonna have next up the Fighting type Grunt, having access to also the shiny option for the Machop, which is kind of cool. Machop, sadly, not really the greatest Pokemon right now. I feel like B tier is kind of where you want to have it. Also, it's been available since basically the release of Shadow Pokemon. So most people already have great IV variants of this one, so most likely not the greatest one to get. You're going to have the Hisuian Sneasel, and I feel like this Pokemon has so much potential also in the current Hisui Cup that's currently around. So I'm gonna put it into the A tier as well, something I would really want to hunt for. And next up, we're going to have now the Makuhita. I think, is it still the same in English as well? I don't know. But like this Pokemon here, which is going to evolve into Hariyama, has some potential in the future, needs a move update though. Hariyama has actually great stats for those Shadow IVs because you have high HP and pretty low-ish defense. So like the defense stat does get like minus 20% when you have the Shadow bonus and doesn't really impact it that much. So like this Pokemon would have some potential in the future, I would say, but you need better charge moves for this Pokemon. Has, I think, like Super Power, Heavy Slam, but you need really better coverage and like maybe a little bit of a cheaper move as well. Again, would be really cool for this Pokemon. So currently not really the greatest, but might have some potential in the future. And now we're going to have the Hitmons, which is kind of funny because we can rank them pretty easily. We're going to have Hitmon top in the A tier, has cool access now to Triple Axel, which really pushed this Pokemon a little bit higher. We're going to have Hitmon Chan here in the B tier, has some potential as well. And then we're going to have Hitmonlee in the C tier. C tier, sadly for this Pokemon, has access to Blaze Kick, which got buffed recently, but we need better fast moves for this one. Like, yeah, Double Kick does make a lot of sense for this Pokemon, but I don't know, it's missing something. Like, maybe we need like even a harder hitting charge move. There are like a lot of kick moves actually that are not in the game yet, which would be really cool to see for this Pokemon. But right now, it's just not really a good Pokemon to use, sadly. Growlithe is a Pokemon that I would really actually... Literally, Growlithe is one fast move update away from being top tier meta, so I'm actually gonna put it into like B tier because right now it is not meta, but literally if it gets Incinerate, this Pokemon would be so cool to play, so I would still kinda try to hunt it and try to get one because it's like so close to being top meta. We're going to have Houndour, sadly, has basically nothing to go for it right now. Yeah, literally there's not a lot that you really can do with this Pokemon, sadly, so would not really recommend you. And then we're going to have Chimchar, and I gonna put Chimchar into C tier. Needs one move update as well. With Incinerate, you might have a little bit of more play because it can farm down opponents, but right now it's a pretty bad Pokemon, so I would not really recommend you. And next up, we're going to have the Flying type Grunt here. We're going to have Galaga, which is top tier, S tier meta. Definitely something that you want to hunt for PvP. Really good Pokemon. We're going to have the, I forgot the name, Murkrow. Murkrow has actually some potential in the future as well, Murkrow, if you don't believe me there. Like, it just needs a fast move update for it. It has like some fast moves that definitely can get upgraded in the future. And then you have like Drill Peck and like Foul Play, which is great coverage. So would kind of put it into low-ish B tier. I feel like this Pokemon has some potential in the future, so would really think that this thing can do something. And then we're going to have the, yeah, I forgot the name of those Pokemon again. Staraptor in the evolution there. So we're going to put like this one into the A tier. Got Fly recently, which is really important. And so this Pokemon has some potential in the Great as well as the Ultra League, which is kind of cool. Not the greatest pick, like for me, in most ideas more of a B tier pick, but I just like it a lot, so I'm just going to leave it there. Next up, we're going to have Hoppip. I have to say that the Shadow variant is something that I don't really enjoy. I think the normal variant is better for Jumpluff, so I'm gonna put it into B tier still because we can still play it, but I don't think it's the greatest Pokemon to have. But still definitely interesting. Same goes kind of for the Seedot. You're going to put it also into the B tier here. Shiftry was meta in the beginning of PvP, but currently kind of fell off. If you give this Pokemon a better fast move, it would be way better, but Snarl and Bullet Seed is just not really giving you a lot of damage, and it's also like a little bit clunky. So like if it gets a better fast move, this Pokemon actually has a lot of potential. And then we have the what's called the Torterra later on. which is going to be, yeah, the Turtwig in general, but this Pokemon actually has some potential in some limited metas as well, and I feel like it has some potential as well for the future. If this Pokemon gets Mudshot, it would be really cool, because Mudshot would really help this Pokemon out for Great as well as Ultra League, so can have some potential in the future as well. Would recommend you to try this, to try to get one good one there. We're going to have here the normal type Grunt. The funny thing about this one is, all Pokemon can be shiny, which is kind of funny. Like, all of those Pokemon has been released as a shiny before, so the normal type Grunt is definitely an interesting one here for you if you really want to hunt for shinies. We're going to go ahead and put Meowth into the D tier. This Pokemon has no play currently, and I doubt that this is ever going to have play. We're going to put, I guess I'm gonna have to put you into B tier. I kind of thought about putting the Teddy Ursa into A tier because of the Ursaluna, but like Ursaluna is not really the greatest either. So I'm gonna put you into B tier. You could argue of putting him a little bit higher, but like I don't, like, Ursaluna has no play in the current meta, so like I don't know, I don't really feel really comfortable doing anything else. And for the other one here, we're going to have the Stampner, which you're gonna put into the D tier as well. It has no play at all, sadly. Next one, we're going to have Coughing coming in. Coughing is one of the Pokemons that has great stats, has decent coverage, but just doesn't have a good fast move. So for now, I'm gonna put it C tier, but I feel like this Pokemon has some potential in the future if it gets like a better fast move for it. Maybe, we have to see. We're going to have here the new addition as well, which is going to be the Toxicroak later on, which I'm going to put into the A tier as well. Toxicroak, definitely something that you want to have as a Shadow variant. I showcased it already on my channel, and I have to say that the extra damage from the Shadow bonus is really important for this Pokemon, so would really recommend you to try to get this one. You have a Moongus, it still needs a better fast move sadly, so we're going to put it into like B tier or something. With Astonish, it's actually playable. I have to say, I played it already as well with Astonish, but if it gets a better fast move, it would be really good for PvP as well. We also have Nidorina and Nidorino, which is going to be kind of awkward. I'm gonna put like Nidorina into B tier because Nidoqueen still has some potential, but it's really not the meta for it right now. There are so many ground types available that Nidoqueen and stuff like this just doesn't really work. And Nidoking never really worked. I'm just gonna put you into C tier sadly. But we can now move on to the Dark type Grunt. Here we're going to have what's called the Rattata here, which is going to be an interesting pick. B tier for sure. Very great bulk. Like, this Pokemon has great bulk and great stats. Issue is just that the current typing is a little bit awkward because there are so many counter users around that it's not really the greatest Pokemon to use for that. But actually has some potential against something like Lickitung, so maybe I kind of want to try this Pokemon out as well. But again, like, double weakness to counter is kind of awkward in the current meta unless your name is Bastiodon. But in comes here again, okay, the Houndour already ranked, and then we have Stunky, which I would put into the B tier. It's a little bit lower than the Drapion, but still definitely has a lot of potential. Would put it high into B tier. Very cool Pokemon still to get, so definitely would recommend you to get this one. But if you miss out on it, it's not the worst either. Next one, we're going to have the Electric type Grunt here. We're going to have the Mareep. Mareep is actually a really good Pokemon for like the Ultra League. The Ampharos is really strong there, especially in the current meta. There are a lot of water type Pokemon around. Would recommend you to try this Pokemon out. Really cool thing there. And here's something that I would recommend you as well. Blitzel needs one more fast move update. If this Pokemon gets Volt Switch, this Pokemon has a lot of potential because you already have Wild Charge and you have Flame Charge. And this will allow you to cover for like the Grass type weakness basically, because you cannot hit Grass types with Electric type moves, but also going to buff your own attack. And so I feel like this Pokemon has a lot of potential in the future, just needs a fast move update. So currently it's in C tier, but I would really recommend you to try to get a good Blitzel because it just needs Volt Switch basically to be good. Then we're going to have the Joltik. Joltik is going to be also a cool Pokemon. Would also put into B tier. Very interesting Pokemon. Very anti-meta right now, and I feel like it's a really solid Pokemon to use. We're going to have the Electrode there, which is going to be a C tier pick. Has some potential. Great coverage with Foul Play. Has access to Hyper Beam if you want to run this. But interesting Pokemon. Currently not really the best Electric type Pokemon that you can run though. And then we're going to have the Alolan Graveler, or like Golem then later on as well, which is going to be somewhere in the B tier. Has some potential, but it's not really that great either. Next up, we're going to have the Ghost type Grunt. I forgot, like, I put the wrong image here, but you know, it's just like the pre-evolution that you can get here. Misdreavus. I actually have to put you into D tier. This is the thing as well. Misdreavus actually has great stats, like the pre-evolution of this Pokemon there. This is Miss Mages, and I think this other one is Misdreavus. I don't know, honestly, but like the Misdreavus is definitely great stats. I think it goes like up to 2100 or something as a bulk rating for the Great League, but just has not really the great charge moves to really help with it, because you need like a better ghost type fast move that isn't Shadow Claw basically, because it doesn't learn Shadow Claw. It has currently Hex, and it's not really the greatest Pokemon sadly to use, so would not really recommend you to try this one out. But next on we're going to have Drifloon. For me, clear B tier, has a lot of potential, but like it's not really top meta or like something that you really need to get, so would not really recommend you to get this. I have to put you a little bit lower here as well, to be fair. Next one, we're going to have the Golett and then the Golurk. Golurk has some potential and some limited meta, so I would definitely recommend you to try to get one as well. But again, it's just limited meta, so I'm going to put it into B tier. And we're going to have next up the ground type Grunt here, going to have access to the Diglett, which is going to be the Alolan Diglett. C tier, had some potential recently in one cup, but like it is not really a good Pokemon otherwise. We're going to have the Quagsire later on, which is going to be A tier. Has still some potential, but it just Whiscash is just better currently, so like you don't really use it too often. And the Excadrill later on has some potential as well, but usually is a little bit worse than like the Shadow variant is a little bit worse than the normal variant, so I would put it into B tier as well. And then we have the Rhyhorn that I would actually put into S tier. This Pokemon is one of the best Pokemon, or like the Rhyperior is one of the best Pokemon currently in the Master League. Breaks as like one of the only Pokemon the core between the Solgaleo and the Zygarde complete, and so definitely for me another S tier Pokemon that you kind of want to get. And now we're going to take a look at the Ice type Grunt, and I have to say all of those Pokemon are kind of nice. I'm going to put them all into A tier. Ice type Grunt is really, really cool. Abomasnow, great. I would put them a little bit lower. Abomasnow is really, really good in the current meta. As said before, there are a lot of ground types, there are a lot of water types. Like breaks the Gligar plus Whiscash, which is really important. And it's just really, really good. Was really solid in the recent regional as well. Would recommend you to go for it. But even the normal variant is really, really good right now. So really depends on what you want to get. The Frostus is in my opinion better as a Shadow variant, most likely as well. So I would really recommend you to try this one out. And then Mamoswine, great for raids especially, but also has a lot of potential in the Open Master League. So Ice type Grunt is maybe one of the safest grunts to go for, because everything that you can get there is going to be really good. Which is not really the case for the Psychic Grunt, honestly. Like Slowbro or like Slowpoke is nothing more than C tier. We're going to have the Wobbuffet, which is in my opinion still B tier. You need to get a Shadow Wobbuffet and Purified to have a good Wobbuffet for the Great League, because you need to return as an attack. So you kind of need to get this Pokemon anyway. But I feel like with the current meta of Annihilate, this Pokemon kind of lost a little bit of potential, because now your main target, which was like something like a Medicham, is gone. And so I would not really think that this Pokemon has much play in the current meta, so would not really recommend you. I think that the Girafarig actually has a little bit more potential than most people expect, so I'm going to put it into the B tier. Really enjoyed it recently using it, so definitely saw it there, and roles we already ranked before. Next up, we're going to have the Rock type Grunt here, which is going to have access to Onix. Onix, really good Pokemon still. Honestly, people just kind of, that's not an Onix, kind of sleep on this, would put it into A tier for sure. Steelix is still really good, so definitely try to get one for you. We have, honestly, I will put this into low S tier. We're going to have the Shieldon here, which is honestly something that I'm hunting currently. Like, literally want this Pokemon so much. We have the Rampardos, which is one of the best raid attackers. Not really good for PvP. I'm gonna put into like A tier. But Rock type Grunt is also really solid right now. But sadly, the second tier is like literally the tier that you don't really want to get. We have Graveler, which is currently not good. We have the Nearly, which is kind of decent. Like the Credilli is really decent right now as well, so I would actually put it into B tier. And then we have the Anorad, which is just going to be lowest of like D tier. Like this Pokemon is so bad, has so bad stats and like horrible moves as well. Steel type Grunt, we're going to have the Skarmory, and honestly, Skarmory is now S tier as well in my opinion. The Shadow bonus was really bad prior for Skarmory, but now we have Steel Wing, which does a ton of damage. It actually benefits quite a bit from the Shadow bonus, which completely shifts it, so definitely it's something that you kind of want to try to get as well. We're going to have the Sandslash, which is definitely still A tier. It's not as great anymore as it was before with the current meta. And then we're going to have Pharaoh C tier, which I'm also going to put into A tier. Made a video about it as well. I think this Pokemon has a little bit more potential than the normal variant of it, because you're going to hit some certain matchups a little bit harder and you can get some more one-shots, which is kind of cool. So definitely Ferroseed is actually pretty decent, even though PvP Poke rankings put it like 7 ranks below the normal one. It does not really matter too much, as Pokemon is actually kind of awesome. And here's the thing with like Lairon. Metal Sound got found in the code. Maybe this Pokemon would learn Metal Sound. If it learns Metal Sound, it would actually definitely rise up in terms of the stats or whatever, like in terms of the ranking. So we currently have the Laren in C because it has a lot of potential, it has great charge moveset, but not really good fast move. And then we're going to have, of course, the Metang. I kind of have to put it into S tier. Like, it's such a good Pokemon for raids as well as also for PvP with the Metagross, so definitely something that you can run. We're going to have the starters for the Generation 3 next, which is going to be a winner. Winning is for winners. And you're going to see as well, we're going to have, yeah, Mudkip. Kind of has to still be... Honestly, I want to put Mudkip into A tier now. Like, you don't really see the Swampert anymore. It's still a solid Pokemon, but like Whiscash is kind of better for it. And for PvP, PvE, like, it's also not the greatest one. So I would put Mudkip still into A tier, but it's not the greatest one. I just have to put Treecko currently into C tier. This Pokemon is way too squishy and has got like actually nerfed again with Breaking Swipe as well, which got nerfed. So like, it's just not really that great. And then we have Torchic, which is somewhere in between. You still have some play in like certain limited matters with the Blaziken, but right now it's not really the case. Snorlax, I actually would put you into S tier. I really enjoy Snorlax in the Open Master League, and so I kind of want to put it up there. It's a very rare Pokemon to get anyway, so I feel like this Pokemon is definitely a solid one to use. Now we're going to have the Water type Pokemon there. We have Whiscash, which is going to be also, for me, currently an S tier pick. Basically, the Shadow variant is usually not preferred, but if you ask the world champ of its Axon, he really likes the Shadow variant of it, so I feel like it has a lot of potential, so maybe try to get one for it. We're going to have the Empoleon, which I feel like needs a better fast move update again. Could get Steel Wing, could get Metal Sound, which would be interesting, but right now I would actually put it into the A tier. Then we have Crawdont, or like, yeah, the pre-evolution for it here and now, which I showcased on my channel yesterday, and I have to say this Pokemon is pretty horrendous, but it's never going to be good either, but I'm going to put it still into the C tier because it has at least a little bit of play. And then for the last one, which you can see, is just the Magikarp trainer, and this one I actually can put my face cam a little bit higher. And this one going to be into the higher up A tier, I would say, with Magikarp. Very solid one here as well. So this is my ranking for all the Shadow Pokemon. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope this is going to help you out. If it does, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I see you then. Bye bye.